Welcome to the Digital Business Evolution Podcast, a place that you can now call home. I know you're creating long-lasting impact in this world, and you absolutely deserve the time, location, career, and financial freedom that you desire. I'm here to guide you with proven strategies, tools, and mindset hacks that I've taught to thousands of business owners. You'll also be hearing from exceptional guests sharing stories of their own personal and business evolution. My name is Jessica DeRose, and I'm here to teach you what I'm learning. We are all inherently worthy, regardless of the number of degrees, awards, and accolades that we've collected along the way. Grab a notebook, a coffee, and enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome back to the show. Today we are chatting all things lead generation or client customer acquisition. So a really common question that I get literally all the time from my audience, from you, from our coaching over texting on our community platform, and from our clients is, how do I get in front of more clients? How do I warm up my audience? My current audience is exhausted. I feel like I've burned through my warm leads. How often should I follow up? These are all questions that I get on the daily. And so I figured, why not bundle it up and package it together for you today? And the way that I did this was really taking a zoomed out view of business. And I found 5 really common mistakes that we make when it comes to lead generation. So if you're wondering right now, what is lead generation? Why do you need it? Why is it important? So lead generation or client acquisition is the process in which we are getting in front of new prospects and then hopefully converting those prospects to become paying clients at some point. So one of the biggest mistakes, we're just going to start, these are in no order. One of the biggest mistakes that I see is that people think that they actually need more audience members or more leads rather than focusing on the ones that they have. Now, I hear this all the time. I need to grow my audience. I need more leads. I need more prospects. I need. And I would love to just caution you or encourage you to pause and just reframe for a second. So a lot of times we think that we need more people when in fact it could just be that we're not effectively communicating to the people that are already in our audience, or you might not be offering something that your current audience wants. Now there's a really fine line here between low-hanging fruit and, staying in alignment. So a perfect example would be, I came from the fitness industry. I worked as a trainer for 18 years. That is where I initially built my business, both in person and online. And people for a very long time knew me as a trainer. I was training celebrities. I was in magazines. I was on TV. And so for a very, very long time, even after I stopped training clients, people would ask me to train them. And there was a boundary there. There was a parameter there. There was a cap there where my answer simply was no. Now, it could have been easy for me to say yes, right? My audience is asking for it. That's what they want from me. That's what they know me for. And that could be considered as low-hanging fruit. It's right there. They're already asking. I didn't really need to do much to get them or find them or attract them. And it could be perceived as easy money. But for me, it was a hard no because I no longer wanted to do those things. So I am not saying that if your audience wants something, you need to give it to them or you need to create it. What you need to do is learn how to discern within yourself if that's something that you want to go after or not. What you get to do is discern between the reason that you might be going after something. Now, I digress. There's 2 things I want to talk about here, energetically and systematically. So the first thing is, let's imagine that we were hosting a barbecue at our house and we invited about 15, maybe 20 max different friends or neighborhood buddies to come over to the house. We go to Costco, we order Whole Foods, we get just enough food, just enough plates that we think are going to handle, 20 people, hungry people, maybe even people that have had a couple drinks. So you get some extra food, but it's like food for 25, maybe 30 max. And then one of your nosy little neighbors tells the entire neighborhood, and you have this barbecue and your 20 friends are there. And all of a sudden, 20 more people show up, and then 20 more, and then 20 more, and then 20 more. And an hour into your barbecue, you have 300 freaking guests at your house that you are not anticipating having. So energetically, could you actually hold space for that many people? Energetically, would you be able to maintain your emotions and have that emotional intelligence of neutrality to not freak out or snap at somebody or feel super stressed or spiral down in a tizzy or want to cry, maybe hide in your kitchen? Energetically, could you hold that many people? Systematically, are you set up to hold 300 people? And the answer is no, you're not. You only bought food for 25 people, at max 30. You probably don't have space for 300 people. You definitely don't have chairs for 300 people. You might not even want 300 people, in your backyard. And so when we're thinking that we need more audience members, it's like saying you need more people to show up at your barbecue, when the reality of it is you might not be set up to do that. And we could take that systematic approach and even go one step further. I mean, gosh, if 300 people joined our next program, would we have enough coaches? Would we have enough bandwidth? Is the onboarding process streamlined enough? Is it manual? Is it manual labor from one of our team members, or is it automated? I would hope that a 300-person increase in our clients, it would be automated, right? So a mistake is thinking that you actually need more audience members when the reality is you probably haven't fully served the ones that you have. And let's also remove this idea that 200, 300, 1,000 people following you on social media is somehow not a lot of people. Because again, if 300 people, 1,000 people showed up to your house for a barbecue, that would definitely feel like a lot of people, right? So let's just reframe that. Common mistake number 2 is thinking that you need to pay for more audience members. I see this happening all of the time. Whether it is a client who decides to boost a post on social media. So boosting is a feature that you have on Instagram where you can literally put money into this particular post, like let's say $25, $50, $100, to boost it to get more eyeballs on this post. In my opinion, take it for what it's worth, you are literally flushing money down the toilet. Boosting your post with no strategic plan is really like flushing money down a toilet. Boosting a post is not the same thing as running ads. Now, running ads is paying to play. And we are running ads now after years of being in business, but we had not run them previously. In fact, we had done multiple 7 figures in our business before we started playing with ads. So thinking that you need to pay to play is a very limited and untrue mindset. What you need to do is make sure that you have a proven model and that you have demand from people before you start paying for ads to push this thing. The worst thing that you can do is create a course, a program, or even a physical product and start putting money behind it when no one has actually bought it yet. Or maybe you've only launched it once or twice and you don't really have systems in place, again, to hold more clients. You don't really have automations in place to make sure that you have more space in your schedule. You don't have that many testimonials or client results or proof that it works. You haven't changed based on feedback. You haven't tweaked based on feedback. And so what you could be doing right now is sort of throwing money at your problem, which is a huge mistake that I see people making. They throw money at what they perceive to be a problem. So they hire people, they outsource things, they run ads, when really, if you just slow down a little bit, you can take an assessment of where you're at in your business and not put yourself in a position where you could be spending more money than is needed. When you are paying to play and you're spending money on ads, what I need you to recognize is that you are competing against the quote unquote big dogs, which is why running ads during the holiday season, around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, Hanukkah, all of that, it's actually more expensive to run ads at that time. And the reason it's more expensive is because the demand for your ad getting seen, it's harder to break through. You have companies like Apple and Amazon and Victoria's Secret and Bed Bath & Beyond, and these major players, right? Sony, PlayStation, I think that's the same company, the NFL. You have all these big companies spending millions and millions of dollars on ads. So for your ad to be seen, you really do need to pump a lot of money into it. The cool thing about social media, all platforms, is that it's free marketing. And when you understand what it is that you're selling, who you're selling it to, what problems you solve, what solutions you offer, and what the messaging is to be really clear on that, you do not need to be paying for ads. So common mistake number 2 is thinking that you need to pay for ads and either then waiting until you have enough money or worse, putting yourself in the red because you don't have the profits yet. You don't have the revenue coming in. Mistake number 3 is diluting your energy, your capacity, your message, or your offers so that you could be omnipresent. Now, what I mean there is omnipresent as in on all platforms in front of all audiences. And I get it. In a perfect world, we would all be omnipresent. Trust me, I wish that the team and I right now had like YouTube videos that were just crushing. We had the podcast, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn. And I wish that somebody was doing stuff for the team over on Pinterest. But the reality of it is most of us don't start there. In fact, I've been in business for many years and we have a nice sized team and we're still not there yet. And the reason we're not there yet is because trying to be everywhere will dilute your capacity, your energy, your message, your offers. Trying to be everywhere is sort of like chasing two rabbits. You'll most likely catch neither. And so when you focus on one audience, when you focus on one offer, when you focus on one platform, when you focus on clear one messaging, right? Clear message, you'll be able to go so much deeper and you'll be able to grow so much faster. And when I look at our business and I look at the multiple millions that we have generated, it has come from one offer. Now, of course, some of that revenue has come in from other things, but the meat and potatoes, the most of it, the majority of it has come from one offer. And that is proof right there that it's not that you might need more audience members, but what you might need to be doing is actually focusing on more of what you already have. Mistake number 4 is not warming your audience up. This is probably the biggest mistake that I see when people are in launch and they're stressed out and they say, I need more leads. There aren't enough people. And then we take a step back and we look at what was your runway? How much did you warm your audience up? How much have you dated your audience? So let's talk about that for a second. Your runway is basically all the times in your business that you're not in a launch is considered your runway. And your runway is where you're acquiring new leads, you're getting new eyeballs on your content, you're growing your email list, you're growing your text message list, you're creating content for free. Maybe it's a podcast, a YouTube, maybe you're putting stuff on LinkedIn, Pinterest. You're creating know, like, and trust. You're building authority, credibility. You're building relationships with people. You're offering valuable information. This is all part of the runway. So I want to talk about dating for a second because we talk about dating a lot in business. I just said it. You want to date your audience. What dating is and what dating is not. Dating in business is not you cold reaching out and being a creep in somebody's DMs. That's not what dating has to be, right? Dating is this idea that you're creating memories and experiences together. So when Mike proposed to me back when he did, he, got down on one knee and opened up the box and asked me the question. And there was the ring. And I said yes. Now, I did not say yes because of how he asked me. I did not say yes because of the outfit or where we were or the ring and how beautiful it was. I did not say yes for anything that was happening in that moment. And a lot of people are focusing on their business, in particular their launch, as if that moment is the only thing that is going to determine whether or not the person says yes. The reality is, and if you've ever been in a relationship, if you've ever been proposed to, or even if you haven't, you can understand what I'm saying. The years before Mike proposed, the dating, the experiences, the adventures, the memories, the difficult conversations, the compromise, the fun, the laughter, those moments, all of those bundled up year after year, month after month, moment after moment, that's the stuff that got me to say yes. It was to the point where when he asked me, I already knew I was going to say yes. Now, I wasn't waiting around, tapping on my wrist like it was a watch and giving him an ultimatum. But the idea, the concept, the question in my mind had already been answered. When the time comes that he's going to ask me, I know I'm going to say yes. If he asks me, I will say yes. The decision was made before the question was asked. That's dating. That's runway. So many of us are waiting until the cart opens, the day that we launch, the moment we tell people about something, for them to just say yes. But we haven't put our time into the dating and the runway. And so there's a few things that you could do in that dating period to help make sure that you are giving them something that they want and that they know you for the thing that you're about to offer them. And so in that dating, yes, we're going to build the know, like, trust, the relationships, the credibility, the authority, but you're also going to use that time in between launches when you're dating to validate, do they want what you have? What do they want? Validate that your idea is actually something they want and need. You're going to tease to them and basically make them want it even more. Let them know that it's coming. Let them know that you're working on it, that you've listened to what they've asked for. And then eventually you get into the launch of it where now you're giving it to them by way of an offer. You're giving it to them by way of an invitation. And at this point, you would have moved them through they're a new audience member, maybe a new customer, a new follower, a new prospect, a new lead, and now they're getting warmed up. So they're going from cold to warm, and eventually they'll move from hopefully warm to hot. Now, understand it takes people sometimes years to stay in the warm area. We have clients all the time that join our programs who on our welcome call, they raise their hand and they're like, man, I have to tell you, I've actually been following you for 2 years. I've saved so much of your content. I've watched multiple launches come and go, and I just didn't have the courage to say, yes, I wasn't ready. Things were going on in my life. You've been on my vision board. This program's been on my vision board for years. And I'm sitting there like, what? I didn't even know, with all due respect, that you existed because you've never commented on any of my stuff. You've never DM'd me. You've never come to a training before. And so it's crazy to think that this program has been on your vision board when you haven't been in my vision, in my sight. So understand that there's patience required with dating. It's not pushing them to answer. It's how much time is needed for them to come to their own answer. That way, when you finally put out the offer or the invitation, well, heck, it's not going to feel salesy or sleazy. It's literally just an invitation. And then the final and fifth mistake that I see made is not following up. And there's a lot of opinions on follow-up, right? We've all heard the quote, there's fortune in the follow-up. That's like a standard in sales. But what I want you to understand is that following up does not have to mean you're circling back. You're in the DMs, you're reaching back out. Hey, how do you feel? Hey, I wanted to check in again. But following up could just be you showing up, talking about the offer consistently, which most of us don't want to do. In fact, one of the most common questions I get, it's more about launching and not so much about lead generation, but people will often ask, how often do I have to talk about it? I feel like I'm a broken record. I'm saying the same thing every day. I don't want to annoy people. And when you're talking about lead generation, when you're talking about putting in an offer, when you're talking about launching, it's actually your responsibility to remind people of the thing that you have. That's why when we're watching something like the Super Bowl, every single commercial break, we see the same 4 or 5 commercials over and over and over again. There's a study out, there's many studies out that say, and this changes often, anywhere from 5 to 7 to 10 times is how often someone would need to see something before they're able to make a decision. My personal belief, I don't know, this is just my opinion, it's 2022. I would say we probably need to see something like a good 20 times. 20 times before we're like, oh yeah, that thing. Oh yeah, I think I'm interested. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. People are busy. It has nothing to do with you. Stop being a little meaning-making machine. If someone forgot about you or forgot to circle back with you, or they didn't save your post or comment right away when you were offering something, just remember it's actually your responsibility in business to stay in the front of their mind. And you're not annoying them. And if you are, that's fine. That's on them. And they'll unsubscribe or they'll unfollow, and that's okay. But by not following up in your content or even in conversations, you could potentially be leaving potential customers on the table. Notice I didn't say leaving money on the table. That's true too. You could be leaving money on the table, but more importantly, you could be leaving potential customers or potential clients or potential future clients on the table. Because we want to stay at the front of mind. We want to continue to build and nurture those relationships. So understand that lead generation, customer acquisition, is simply one part of the launch machine. And the launch machine has got a lot of parts. And so if you're loving this and you want to learn more about the launch machine, because in order to have light and easy and flowy and fun launches, it requires you to have a launch machine where the gears are working together, where the nuts and the bolts are in the right place, where the timing belt is smooth and it's well oiled. And so if you're loving this and you want more, I'm going to say stick around because I've got something for you. So without further ado, give me a drum roll. Cool. We have a brand new training for you that we have been working our booties off behind the scenes because you've been asking for it. Discover how we've created multi-six-figure launches on repeat since 2018. Let me say that again. Discover how we've created multi-six-figure launches on repeat since 2018. We are literally pulling back the curtain and showing you our proven launch system that has consistently generated $100,000 to $300,000 launches for 4+ years. This has been our most asked topic for years. And to be honest, the only reason that we have not hosted a masterclass on this before is because we are committed to ensuring that we not only can get results ourselves, we can get repeated results ourselves, and then we can actually teach it to clients and ensure that they can get repeated results. AKA, it's not a fluke. So after 4+ years, 500+ clients, and a collective $13 million brought in with this machine, I can confidently say that we have figured it out. So if launching has ever felt heavy or confusing, or like it's just not yielding the results that you desire, this masterclass is 10,000% for you. The best thing that you can do right now is head over to our show notes, snag a seat in this masterclass, and hopefully I will be seeing you live on August 17th at 12 noon Eastern. Because I can promise you, if you think that lead generation is the be-all, end-all, it is not. It is one small cog in a very large launch machine. And I cannot wait to dive in and share it with you. So again, head to our show notes. You can click the link, get yourself registered for August 17th at 12 noon Eastern. And as always, if you loved this episode, please, it would mean the world to me if you took a screenshot, shared it, tagged me at I am Jessica DeRose, and tell me what some of your biggest takeaways were. I certainly don't want you making the same mistakes in business that I have made. There's no point. Let me be your guide. Let me go first. I've already made these mistakes, so you don't need to. As always, cheers to your evolution. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.